Today is Labor Day. Yeah, Labor Day. And that's what we're going to do today. Labor, labor, labor. Circa 1988. Everybody up. Boys, Coach Wolf here. Today is Labor Day. And you've been working hard. Really, really hard. Y'all say you want to win a championship. Yeah, you Durkin. You say you've been wanting to win a championship? Yeah, well, that's what we got to do. Chrysler, Stansberry, yeah, you say we want to win a championship? Guess what today is? Cicchini, Page Ray, what are you going to do about it? Boys, today is Labor Day. And because it's Labor Day, it's a holiday. Y'all been saying you win a championship, and it's Labor Day, and it's a holiday? Guess what we're going to do today because it's a holiday? Guess what we're going to do? Today on Labor Day, this national holiday, today, we're going to do exactly that. We are going to labor. Labor, labor, labor. That's right. Get your chin straps buckled up, get your mouthpieces in, and get ready to labor so we can win some championship. Now let's get back to work and let's go with the championship. It's time, Green Dragons, to labor, labor, labor. Woo-hoo! Man, oh man, 34 years later. 34 years later, that was 1988, and I can still hear Coach Wolf's voice in my head. It's Labor Day. Three things today as I reflect upon those glory days. And those were some glory days. Is number one, if you want to labor and you want to be a champion in life, I don't care if it's football, in sport, in business, in school, you got to work when others don't. And you got to work when others won't. That's point number one, is you got to work when others don't or won't. Number two, you got to suck it up even when you don't feel like doing something. Because when we're running into the huddle, we hear Coach Wolf saying, let's go, hold up, let's go, it's Labor Day. We're like, we're getting out of practice. We're not going to practice this Labor Day. He's letting us go. We've been working hard for 3 weeks. You got to change your mind real quick. You got to snap the band and get your mind right when he says, no. We're going to do what others won't. We're going to actually flip the switch and get your mind right and get back to work. Because in point number 3 is when it's Labor Day. When it's Labor Day, that's what we're going to do. We're going to labor, labor, labor. I love that. I hope you enjoy that as much as I love reenacting that. Happy Labor Day. Truly happy Labor Day. It's one of my favorite holidays, and I really mean that. It's one of my favorite holidays, Labor Day, because seriously, 34 years later, there isn't a Labor Day that goes by that I don't think of Coach Wolf and the impact that he's had on me as a mentor. And while the late, great Coach Wolf is no longer on this planet, he sure has impacted thousands of young men and women, not only in New Jersey, but literally across high school football across America as one of the winningest all-time football coaches in the country's history. There's not a Labor Day that goes by that I don't literally smile and think of him. So a shout out and a blessing to Coach Wolf and his family and all the Brick Green Dragons back there in Jersey for the memories that are always created on this beautiful day. And wherever you live, remember that Labor Day is all about laboring. And speaking of, I'm going to have a great episode today. I'm really excited to share today's episode. So without further ado, on this beautiful Labor Day, let's get to work. Podcast listeners, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Hey, quick update. Thank you for the great feedback and the signups already coming in for the Shift Retreat. Now, I have to remind you, we do have limited seats, so don't delay. If you need a little shifting in your life, you want to get your mind right, you want to get your health right, and you want to amp up your results in your business and in your career, you're going to want to sign up ASAP for the Shift Retreat. Oh, by the way, did I mention that there's a very special gala that night, Saturday night? We're going to be dancing. I may even break out my special Jersey cardboard and do a little head spinning, a little bit of old school hip hop break breakdancing, you're going to want to be at the Shift Retreat. When I talk about igniting your energy, igniting your passion and your purpose from going from empty, lost, maybe even a little bit of tired and burnout, the Shift Retreat is going to help propel you not only through the end of the year, but going strong into 2023 as well. Make sure you take a look and sign up real soon for the Shift Retreat. Hop over to todddurkin.com and sign up today, because after all, shift happens. All right, welcome back to the show. Super fired up today. We're talking a lot of different things, so buckle up your bootstraps. I want to give a shout out to all of you who have either shared episode 263, all on, we talked about healing and surgery and recovery, massive amounts of feedback. Thank you. And thank you for all of you who have given us those 5-star ratings and written reviews in the last couple weeks. Y'all rock. Thank you. We talked about how we want to take the Todd Durkin Impact Show and just boom, stratospheric heights on the podcast, in the podcast world, and you are helping with that. So thank you, and keep the questions coming. When it comes to healing, I didn't know so many people had so much going on like myself. So those questions help me help you. So whatever you have on any aspect, if I can continue to serve you, let me know, and I will continue to do so. And part of the question I have for you today is a deep one on this great day today. The question is this: is your soul singing? Is your soul singing these days? How do you get your soul to sing? How do you align your passions and your purpose? And, I always talk about creating that impact, but is your soul singing? If you have body issues or image, any aspect of your body, maybe you're hurt, maybe you just had this surgery like me now several weeks ago. How do you get your soul to sing even when sometimes your body's not responding? Maybe your mind is not right. That's why you listen to the show, because I want to get your mind right, get your mind right, get your mind right, get your mind right. But how do we get the soul singing? And that's a big question. And we talk about it a lot, but today I'm going to talk about even more so about get your soul singing. As a matter of fact, part of what we're going to do today is I'm going to have you join in on a conversation with a gal who I've been mentoring. She's part of my mastermind group. She just wrote a book, a collaborative book, and it's called The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business. Your soul-aligned business. I love that topic. Why? Because a lot of times when you're either starting a business, you're creating a business, or you're in hyper growth mode of a business, you're trying to scale your business, you're trying to do all this stuff that you can get out of whack, you can get out of balance. And you're like, man, am I doing the right thing? Or, I'm spending so much time here doing this. And Kiki Magnuson, we're going to talk two different things today. We're going to talk about creating a soul-aligned business, and part of the chapter she wrote about her experience in growing her business, because by trade, she's a nutritionist and she's a trainer, and she's doing amazing things. She's got her own cooking show, and she's serving a lot of people and helping them on the nutrition side. And I do want to touch upon that nutrition. I've been all over the nutrition thing lately. In the healing episode, I talked a lot about healing and nutrition and supplementation. And today I want to take it in a slightly different level, and not only about stress and nutrition, but also gut health. A lot of the questions that came in from you on healing also dealt with gut health. And Kiki, who's a nutritionist, and I are gonna also touch upon some gut health things as well. So we talk about soul, we talk about nutrition, and we talk about getting your mind right. We talk about working hard, all these great things. So without further ado, let's go to today's conversation with the one and the only Kiki Magnuson. Welcome to the show, Kiki Magnuson. Actually, Kiki, I should say welcome back to the show, that is. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, the first time, folks, we actually tried this the first time, but Fitness Quest 10 and TDE HQ, where the podcast is recorded, was actually under construction. And it was so loud in here that I had to actually stop the recording. And Kiki, by the good grace of God, has come back. So Kiki, thanks for coming back on the show. And it's kind of a little blessing, because since we recorded the first time, your book has come out as well.
Yeah, it has, which is super exciting. Our first time co-author, which is kind of huge in my eyes. Yeah, absolutely. Never thought I would do that, but here I am.
One of the things I want to talk about today, Kiki, because you are multifaceted with your nutrition, your training, and of course, as a new author, is the new book that you're a part of, a collaborative book, The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business, where there are 25 practical strategies from multiple experts. And when I was looking at the book and saw a lot of the different topics, very curious, and I want to talk about your chapter, but I saw things that had to do with sound healing, tapping. When it comes to healing, I'm like, I'm really intrigued by tapping and healing and tapping into the subconscious mind. Soul alignment, business coaching, finance, wellness, travel. There's so many great topics. So I can't wait to dive in, but I want to talk about your chapter. Tell me about your specific chapter when it comes to living well with Kiki.
So my chapter was about, I talked first about my story and how I got started as a business owner. A lot of people think when you open a business, you're going to make a ton of money, have that freedom to have your own schedule. And, we see all the positives of owning a business. However, it wasn't easy. Starting off, I was in a new city that I did not have a lot of connections with. I also share in there that my family wasn't as supportive at the beginning. I love them and they're very supportive now, but they didn't understand because normally my how I was brought up is that you went to college, you got a full-time job, and then that was your career path, and then you continue to be successful. I decided to step away from that and be an owner, and doing that was a lot of it was just uncharted waters. A lot of things that
away from that. What made you step away from that?
You know what? It kind of started very small. It was a seed that got planted. So I was working for a weight loss company out of college, and I had family friends that actually reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, I want to pay you directly to help me with my nutrition. I'm pre-diabetic. I need to lose weight." And I was just like, I guess I can teach people on how to eat well without shakes and bars and a restricted diet, because that's what the company at the time I worked for, that you have to follow the system in order to be successful. And one client turned into two, turned into three. And I realized I had something here, that I actually was helping people heal, get away from disease, and actually live a life where they're free to do whatever they want, but in a way that's still healing. And so it kind of birthed my program from there, and it's been evolving. I would say a big, huge turning point for me was during the pandemic. 2020 was when I went full headfirst into my business. And it's been growing ever since. It's been amazing how to see one little seed of someone reaching out to me individually, can grow and expand into something like this. Because if you were to ask me 5 years ago, because I started my business in 2018, that I would be in this place today, I would have been like, no, me, a business owner, that's stressful. Who wants to do that? And I have to find all my clients. That sounds terrible. And then here I am doing it.
So if someone asked you, what is living well with Kiki? And you had that 20-second elevator pitch of what is your business about? What is living well with Kiki?
So Living Well with Kiki is a one-on-one nutrition program, and it's based around wellness. So I don't call myself like nutritionist Kiki or diet blah, 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 or weight loss, because it's a whole wellness piece to it. So we tackle not just the nutrition component, but the psychology of nutrition, intuitive eating, and we really get to a place that's customized, because every person is so unique and individual that if you do a one fit all, it's not going to work. So I come into people's lives, really tackle the wellness piece of it, really complement their fitness, their, the mindful practices and the general nutrition, just so they can get to that place.
Let me ask you a question when it comes to that, because you've spent many years studying nutrition, not only personally and for your performance, but helping people with weight loss, optimal performance. If there were 3, 4, or 5 pillars of good health and good nutrition, what would a few of those commonalities be when it comes to nutrition that you'd recommend for our listeners today?
So starting off with just being mindful. A lot of people just go about their day and then they can't even tell me yesterday what they ate. or what they had for breakfast, what they had for lunch or dinner. They're just going through the motions and they just have, they're not even thinking about it. So awareness is huge. If you have the awareness of what's going in, what's in your hand or what's being put on your plate into your mouth, you can start to build that pattern of like, okay, maybe I'm not choosing the best things at breakfast because I'm struggling with time management and I need to kind of switch that. So that awareness piece is one key thing. Number two could be just adding more vegetables into your diet. A lot of people aren't eating enough veggies, and what's the difficulty with veggies? You got to prep them, you got to wash them, you got to chop them. They're not just a grab and go as like bars and a lot of things that are very high carbohydrates. A cereal I can easily pour, mix and go. Or if I'm going to make a salad, it has a few other steps. So even in my chapter, I talk about that, doing some planning ahead of time. And if you're able to do those little like pre-stuff before, then you're going to be able to reap the reward by having, a little bit more wellness in your food. So that's kind of like the third. So awareness, add more vegetables, prep ahead of time. If you can't have the time, buy the things that allow you to cut the time, like veggie trays, veggies that are pre-cut, pre-washed. I love sugar snap peas. They're one of my favorite snack veggies because I can just eat them straight out of a bag. And the other thing is incorporating water. Just make sure that you always are hydrating. Talking about that first thing in the morning, you want about that 25% or so of water intake from your whole day, from the moment you get up, because we're dehydrated, because we're sleeping and rejuvenating and healing. And that's what leads to my other tip with nutrition is recovery and sleep. A lot of people don't actually understand how sleep can have an effect with your nutrition. If you're staying up way too late, you might be over snacking. Or if you eat a meal too close to the point where you're going to bed, then you have disrupted sleep patterns, which can then lead, to other unhealthy patterns. So it's really important to also prioritize your sleep. So kind of in summary, you're being aware, you're getting more vegetables in, you are prepping and doing some sort of a way of like helping yourself out with your vegetables and your food. You're getting plenty of water and you're working on your sleep.
Good points. All great points. I think hydration is huge, especially now in the summer. It's hot all around the country, heck, all over the world right now. You're going to find that over in Europe. It is hot everywhere. And I always advocate half your body weight in fluid ounces of water. It's really important to do that. And if you're drinking alcohol or coffee, maybe you don't want to do that. Or if you do, you got to drink that more hydration, right? So, you guys can always go back to the recent episode I did with Melanie Rogers talking about some of those things as well. I do have a question when it comes to sleep. What if you're not sleeping well because of stress? Like you've got a lot in your mind and forget nutrition for a second. You got a lot in your mind, so you're not sleeping well, so you're not recovering well. What would some strategies be that you would say to help improve one's sleep so that you can recover better?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I find that a lot of people have, challenges around like unplugging where their brain is just going. But this is where, same thing with nutrition, we have to kind of explore some options in order to find what fits for you. So things that that's helped me, but also my clients is starting off by starting a routine and making it consistent. Because if you make it consistent, your body will start to naturally produce, your melatonin and then you'll start to wind down and then relax. And it starts with that habit first. So it's dimming your lights. Is it like with me, I brush my teeth actually with not my my bathroom lights on. It's the back because I have a separation between the toilet and the sink. So the toilet light's on, but not the sink light because it's bright in my face. But the toilet light is actually dimmer. So I'm brushing my teeth already in like dim environment. If it's cold, perfect. If you're in a really hot bedroom, I recommend getting a fan or turning the AC because no one feels comfortable sleeping in their own sweat, And then it's finding like, I really love to read at nighttime. It helps me wind down and and helps me get all relaxed. And I've heard some people tell me like, no, they can't do that because it just wires them up. And so maybe listening to a calm music, or is it a meditation gratitude practice that you do at the end of your day? Calm is a really good app because it provides like soothing music, you know, from the ocean to the jungle, even someone telling a story. And I've used that before as a way to kind of help my mind kind of calm. But it's that consistency. You can't just do it once and think if it's going to work. You kind of have to repeat that process because our bodies are really good at figuring out those triggers. If you have a trigger, like the sun's going down, you know, our natural body should go to sleep with the moon, and then we should wake up with the sun. So same thing with waking up. I have a light alarm that gets brighter and brighter. That way that naturally wakes me up versus I have a secondary alarm just in case if I don't wake up, but it's noise. But I prefer waking up with light versus actually sound. So those, you know, it's kind of those things that you kind of have to figure out. You know, chamomile tea, some people really like a soothing something warm to help them sleep, but it's finding that routine. But it's always getting away from electronics. I have a lot of clients that will do last minute projects. They'll be on emails on their laptop, and then they close everything and then try to go to bed. And it's like, you can't just turn everything off right away. Give yourself at least an hour to kind of wind down doing that process. So yeah, unplugging with electronics is huge because that LED light can stimulate you. And I always try to avoid like a very action or like thriller movie because that just gets me going. I'm like, oh, I want to know more. And then you went through the whole movie and now you're stimulated. You're like, oh my God, I can't fall asleep now because all I'm doing is thinking about that movie.
So I should not be checking my ESPN app or my Instagram right before bed, it sounds like.
No, I don't recommend it, you know, I don't, because then it gets you going.
No,
but,
I
know. Some people are the other way where they can actually be on their computer. Like my husband's like totally, he's his own beast, but like he'll like watch a movie up until he falls asleep, and I can't do that. So I'm the one reading, and he keeps it low. That way I can fall asleep. But if I was to watch TV, I'm just like, I get stimulated and I stay up.
I've really found the last year that nighttime routine is, I don't want to say more important than morning routine, but if your nighttime routine is shot, then your morning routine is shot because you don't sleep good. So I'm into this last hour of just extreme personal care, the last hour, extreme personal care. You mentioned reading. I've been journaling more at night than even in the mornings, like just to let everything off my chest onto paper, get it out, get the evening routine ramped up, get some reading in, get some stretching in on those hips. And then chilling out. So I think getting off your phone is a huge thing because the worst thing one could do is check emails before going to sleep. Don't do it. It's a bad idea because no good emails are coming in at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. So there's nothing worse than getting a bad email right before you go to sleep, and then you really can't sleep and your mind is racing and everything else. So off the emails late at night. And I think you're spot on when it comes to that. When it comes to weight loss, I have a question for you as it relates to weight loss and stress. Let's say you're eating pretty well and you're doing a lot of things you talked about. You're mindful, you're eating your vegetables, you're hydrating up, you're limiting sugar, you're not over consuming either alcohol, but you're 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight. And then because stress is so high, what do you say about that? It's been called metabolic syndrome, sometimes just stress with cortisol. What would you say with how you teach it, how you coach it to your clients about how you can eradicate that? Because you could be eating pretty darn clean, but if your stress is high and your hormones are out of whack, then you're gonna have a tough time really getting to the weight that you want to be.
Right. Well, think of your body as that fight or flight response, right? No matter what you're doing as far as stress goes, it's a stress. It could be you checking that email late at night that like a client sent you like a complaint. You're like your system is going, and it's like the same thing as like a tiger attacking you. Regardless of the type of stress, it is a stress. So it's overcoming those stressors in a more manageable fashion that can really dictate someone's weight fluctuation too. So with that, I've learned that with clients, I try to find avenues around how to manage stress. Is it, like you had mentioned, is it journaling and putting things down on paper? There's something about writing things down that's just so powerful that it allows to get that weight kind of lifted from someone. Is it movement? You know, you talk about motion is lotion, and getting someone to actually like, you know, release that built up anxiety or stress, whatever it is. And by through movement, is that a place where they can release it? Is it by a support system and being around other people of like-minded individuals versus them feeling alone? You know, if like with me being a business owner, I think that was my biggest challenge, is that I had things going on in my business world that friendly and family couldn't understand because they weren't owners. But then when I got into a room like your mastermind group, I was like, oh my God, I'm not the only one that deals with this. Oh, I'm not the only one, you know? And it allows you to be around a support system that you can kind of get that support, and even that mentor that believes in you when sometimes you don't even believe in yourself. And then, you know, like, is it, you know, necessarily a big group, but is it therapy? I've definitely had to recommend clients before to therapy, because it is, especially now with what we went through with COVID, you know, people's uncertainty, jobs, we're told that we need to wear masks again. Now, like, you know, some people, like my husband, still goes into work. So he had to come home and work from home because there was one of the coworkers had COVID. You know, there's just so much going on that we still don't understand, that being able to meet with someone and explain to them like how you're dealing with your stress, what's going on in my world, how can I overcome them? And, you know, those therapy sessions really can help. But it's getting to that root cause. If you ignore it and you're like, oh, you know, it's no big deal, I'll just like power through. Us as individuals, regardless of who you are, you're going to crash and burn at some point. You know, the body needs to heal, it needs to recover, it needs to digest well. If you're high stress, it could lead to, you know, bad digestive system in your GI tract, and there can be other stuff that is going wrong too. So it's kind of like a domino effect, really, because if your stress is very high, like you mentioned, hormones may be out of whack, digestive, then your sleep, you know, mental health declines, you know, performance in the work field and personal life goes down, and just, you know, all spirals down. So really taking stress seriously is huge. And then finding the tools that, and there's no wrong one, just, you know, owning it, finding the one that works for you and kind of keep rolling with that is very, very important.
I was just talking to another nutritionist here last week. I've been on this kick about gut health lately. And when stress is high, your gut health is really an important aspect to overall, not only immunity, but your overall wellness, your vitality. And we got into a whole discussion. This gal eats sauerkraut every day. I'm like, I don't think I could eat sauerkraut every day. I said, let's talk about gut health, like probiotics and what we can have. I'm like, I'll do the Greek yogurt. I'll do kombucha juice, some kombucha,
kimchi,
right? Kefir. And I'm like, I don't know about the sauerkraut every day thing, but I've been on this kick the last month or so about gut health. I think it's really important when we address it here on nutrition discussions to look at that and make sure that our gut is clean. So I appreciate that feedback. I want to go back to the book for a second. What does it mean to have a soul-aligned business?
So based off of what I talk about in my chapter is having that alignment with your health and wellness too. So kind of tackling what we've been talking about today, you need to take care of yourself in order for you to be at the highest level of any performance that you want. Because if you don't take care of yourself, your health eventually will decline, and then you won't be able to perform, and then you're not succeeding in the goals that you want to accomplish. And you can take the highest level, like, you know, professionals and actors, they have their support team. They're not doing it by themselves. So that's kind of what we talk about here in this book. There's different types, obviously, of healing and alignment. But I find that's why even with my branding, Living Well, is because it's all about that holistic approach of not only just the physical part of your health, the mental and the spiritual. And if they all are in unity, then you're living in that harmony of wellness and like the optimal health wellness piece. And that's where you're able to be aligned fully with your business. Because, people can own businesses, but if they run themselves to the ground, eventually something's going to give.
Yeah. So good. So good, Kiki. For those of you who have my God-Sized Dreams planner that I put out here in January, it's good the whole year, but many of you are following the God-Sized Dreams planner. We have the 10 forms of wealth in that planner. And every month, the first of the month, we do our 10 forms of wealth and 3 and 30. I talk about this all the time. And the 10 forms of wealth isn't money, but it's harmonic wealth meaning exactly what Kiki just said, talking about when you look at your inner self, your mindset, your physical conditioning, your relationships and, your adventure and, your finances, all of these things are part of creating your wellness. And I love living well, right? And when you talk about living well with Kiki, what I would say is this is a process. This is something that every day we make the choices of. When we open our mouth, we're gonna have a positive or a negative reaction to what we put in our mouth and what we eat and what we drink. And it's an important aspect because we can do 5, 6, 7 times a day. You can mess up or you can have a positive reaction, which affects your brain health, which affects all the millions of cells in our body. So I really like that answer when you talk about, soul aligning is really making sure that with your wellness and with your health, your physical conditioning and your nutrition plays an important aspect. So what's next for Kiki beside the vacation, which is part of your own harmony and living well? Do you have future books in line? Do you have what's in line for Kiki Magnuson coming up here in the future?
Well, I've been offering, we kind of shared this before, my virtual cooking classes. I'm offering meal prep classes now to help people prepare for the week or the month. You can reuse these recipes over and over again. So they're the last Sunday of every month. So in August, that last Sunday, join me. And maybe a future book, Todd, who knows? I've been toying with the idea. I have to share that my very first experience with even talking about a book was actually your mentorship back in 2019. We were in the room and somebody had mentioned something about books. And then the person I was with was like, Kiki, you're going to write a book one day. And I'm like, me? No. Like, what? Why? I have no business writing a book. And then of course, who do I sit next to at lunch? Kelly Watson.
She was like,
hey, yes. She was like, hey, whenever you're ready, just let me know. And so now it's been quite remarkable to be at a place to where I'm now a co-author, and it was done actually in a much easier fashion than I realized. But hey, we got 25 authors, everyone did a chapter, so it got done a lot quicker versus you doing it by yourself. But I feel like with all the things that I've been doing, I can collect more and more material. That way it won't be as difficult. And then, as far as anything else going on in my business, is just continue to reach out to everybody as much as I can to help out business owners, individuals when it comes to their nutrition and health. I feel like my expertise is a little bit unique in a sense where I have that exercise background. So I can help gym owners by coming in and providing a nutrition service that complements their fitness, versus I've seen a lot of nutritionists don't have that expertise. So they don't understand when it comes to that sports nutrition. Just keep on inspiring others to, it's not perfection here. It's about the journey. We're always going to have ice cream. I'm totally going to have, a cupcake for my birthday or whatever.
Gelato.
Probably, yeah. We'll see.
Absolutely.
What else. Greek dessert is amazing, and I'm for sure going to have some, but it's all about moderation. It's having that positive relationship with food, giving you that sense of grace, but then also I keep learning this with my clients and with books I read, that if you restrict people, all they want to do is rebel, right? We want to get out of the restriction. And if you tell me to not turn left, all I want to do is turn left, right? So if we have more freedom of hey, you can totally do anything you want, but just obviously try to do the things that bless your body, heal your body. Food is medicine. you'll start to enjoy really good, healthy foods. And then, yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to have that one glass of wine, but it's no big deal because it's just once in a while I'm doing that. It's not every single night or, killing a bottle or something.
Right.
So it's just knowing that balance is important.
Kiki, if someone wants to follow you on social media, what's the best place they can follow you? Where can they follow you? And what's your handle?
Living Well with Kiki. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube are my three main platforms. If you do want to check out my website, www.livingwellwithkiki.com. And yeah, reach out if you guys have any questions. Would love to connect with any of the listeners. And I do appreciate your time, Todd. This has been so fun. I'm so grateful to be here.
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Ever since the mentorship and now a huge part of the mastermind family, Kiki, what you're doing. Guys, you're going to want to check out Living Well with Kiki. Go there, check it out. And I know a lot of the common questions that come in. Hey, what do you think of intermittent fasting? Or, hey, what are the best ways to heal your body? Go to Living Well with Kiki. She has so much content on not only food, but on recovery hacks and tips that you can use to live better and to live more well. So go there, check it out. Kiki, any final words or things that you would like to share that I have not asked you?
Oh, I appreciate your time. If anybody ever wants to check out the book, you can go to Amazon to purchase it. Mm-hmm. Or if you want a signature sign, then DM me because I have some copies that I will sign and send them out individually to each person.
New author, Kiki Magnuson. Thank you so much. I love creating a soul-aligned business is the book. Living Well with Kiki is her brand. Check her out. Follow her. My friends, thank you so much for listening today.